Have you ever dedicated your entire life to something only to be told you won't get to see it through? That's exactly what happened to Moses. Let's take a closer look. When we think of great and accomplished people, Moses stands at the top. He faced down Pharaoh. He led the Israelites out of slavery. He split the sea. He received the Torah and transmitted it to the people. Built the Mishkan, the home for God's presence. Pleaded with God to save the people from destruction twice. And guided them through 40 years in the desert. Even when they turned on him again and again, he stayed the course. Although at the end of his life he was told that he will not be allowed to enter the land. But imagine that after a life of such unparalleled accomplishments, he might spend his twilight years in a retirement home, content with the legacy he had forged. Yet, Parshat Va'etchanan that we read this week paints a very different picture. Moses tells the people that he pleaded with God, Va'etchanan, to be allowed into the land of Israel. Let me, I pray, cross over and see the good land on the other side of the Jordan. Why? What compelled him to plead so fervently? Because Moses understood something deep. He understood that the land wasn't just a nice bonus. It was the whole point. From the beginning, God said repeatedly that the purpose of the Exodus was to bring them to the land that he had promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Furthermore, he understood that Torah he received at Sinai wasn't meant to be practiced in the desert or somewhere else. It was the blueprint for a just and moral society in the land. As Rabbi Jonathan Sachs puts it, Judaism is the constitution of a self-governing nation, the architectonic of a society dedicated to the service of God in freedom and dignity. In exile, God might still live in the hearts of Jews, but not in the public square, in the justice of the courts, the morality of the economy, and the humanitarianism of everyday life. He also knew that the Mishkan wasn't a permanent structure, but a traveling home for God which was meant to guide the people through the desert toward the land. So no, Moses couldn't just retire on a hilltop somewhere and look back on his life with pride. He was desperate to finish the job, to witness the fulfillment of everything he had worked for. But God says no. Enough! Never speak to me of this matter again. This is absolutely tragic. But here's the incredible part. What Moses only saw from afar, we are now living. After 2,000 years of exile, wandering and longing, we have returned to our land. We walk the streets, Moses never got to enter. Our children play in parks he never got to see. And we're trying to build a society that he could only have imagined. Israel faces enormous challenges, especially now. But they are the challenges of a sovereign nation in its homeland. And so, what was Moses' unfortunate tragedy is our blessing. If this Dvar Torah gave you something to think about, please like, subscribe, and share. Shabbat Shalom.